Something like that. I don't know. Let's see if this works. Yellow. Can I fix this as well? Oh, yeah, there we go. Make that a little brighter. Okay. Hello. Sorry about that, guys. Just trying to do too many things all at once. Welcome to some yoga this morning. Some happy hips. There we go. Okay, well, I got it up and working. So there we are. We'll just stop stressing about things. Might have made it a little too bright, but I think that looks nice. Doreen, look at you, eager and ready. Sorry I was a few minutes late. Here for a whole class today. You're so funny. Well, I'm glad you're here for the whole class. That's most awesome. I need a little light actually on me. There we go. Turn this guy on. Cool. Well, okay, what else we got going on here? Good morning, Elisa. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Good stuff. Okay, what do we got shaking here this morning? Well, I feel like I just want to announce and communicate the news from yesterday. So as you're finding that starting position, settling down onto your mat, let me just chat and tell you that the studio I work at has offered me a Monday to Friday time slot, 7:30 to 8:30. She's like, you're teaching from 8 to 9 anyway, but there's a class that starts right at 9. So would you be interested in doing your classes in the studio? And I said, as long as I can still have a way to do them online as well. So we're figuring out the logistics for that. So I'm moving these into a studio that I work at Lahari in St. Albert here. So that's really cool, really exciting. It'll be the exact same thing, just in a studio. So you're welcome to come join in person. And then the time will switch from 8 to 7:30. So a touch earlier. So if you want to get up a little earlier and join me in the class, they'll be warm. Which if you want to introduce a little bit of warmth into it, so like hanging out, it's just imagine like the sun was beating on you the whole class. It'll just be a little bit toastier. And so, or because now the content will be created for Lahari, I can't offer them as free classes via my Facebook stream, but I can. We do have some online packages where it'll be through Zoom, so if you want to just check out the online version of this still, if you're not ready to journey into a studio, but you still want your at-home practice, we can figure that out. And I was chatting and trying to figure out what I could do for all of my regular online people. So for you guys, I'm working out how I can still offer you, just something a little special. Just trying to figure out something special coming your way because I don't want to leave you high and dry. So that's starting in August. So we still have a few more weeks of some nice free classes here online. So let's take advantage and savor them, and then we can figure some stuff out going forward. So if you have any questions, drop me a comment, send me a message, we can chat. I'm not abandoning you all in the Facebook world, but it's an awesome opportunity to get to be able to have 5 classes in the morning in the big sunroom at the studio. So I think that's really cool. So just gonna keep grinding that message out there. So that's really exciting. Okay, I see another message here, Doreen. I couldn't find the online packages on their website. Okay, I will message you that. Okay, I know they're on the Mind Body website because that's where all the live classes or all the classes tend to hang out, but I will try to, I have the information in a beautiful little picture, so I will send that to you after this little video. So yes, okay, let's do some yoga. Are you guys ready? I'm ready, I think. Trying to be ready. My body is ready, so let's get into it. I'm gonna start seated this morning. I've got ideas of what I want to do, but we'll see how it all comes together. Let's connect in with that breath. Let's take a few moments. Let's notice that inhale, that journey it takes as you breathe it in. Nice and big. Start to notice that exhale. Start to let it go. Taking another one, starting to breathe a little bit deeper, breathing in, nice big inhale. See if you can fill the lungs, fill the rib cage area, and breathe into that abdomen area. Nice connection with the breath, with the body. Exhale, release. Feel that little softening that happens throughout the body. Starting to maybe feel a little more centered, starting to feel a little more at peace, a little more calm. Can you bring that all together? Letting the body feel good. Maybe starting to notice what does feel good in the body. What maybe needs a little compassion, a little love. What might not feel so good. Can you start to become aware of those things as well? Beautiful, nice connection of awareness. Going a little deeper. Let's take a nice inhale breath. Exhale, maybe you sigh it out. Another inhale, breathing in. Exhale, release. And if you like to set a little intention for our time together, just a little word, maybe a little phrase, a little purpose for this class, this time. Starting to live with intention opposed to floating through, being pulled in all different directions. As you set your intention, you are setting, this is my goal, this is my purpose, this is how I want to live by, opposed to being reactionary. Let's take one more nice big breath in. Nice, exhale, let it out. Rolling those shoulders back and down. Nice little tuck of the chin. Just start to notice your posture. And as you are maybe sitting to center, as you start to round through the shoulders, can you regain some of that? Can you lift through the heart? Starting to connect in. Finding some length through the spine. Almost imagine like a little string coming off the crown of the head, that little flat part. And it's just gently pulling upwards, getting oh so nice and tall. And let the arms be nice and soft, almost weightless. They're just floating down, maybe hands on the knees, or just on the lap, wherever the hands may fall. Start to wake up the body, starting to wiggle into fingers, maybe a little wiggle into toes, maybe start to roll wrists. Maybe you move a little more through the ankles, a little more through the legs. If you were laying down to start, let's jump on up into seated. So good. Oh, yes. Beautiful. Finding that nice big tall seat. Let's take an inhale breath. Bringing the hands on the knees or just onto the legs, something that you can kind of connect in with yourself at. Take an inhale, start to get even taller, start to lift through the heart, pulling the heart up towards the ceiling. Nice, just gentle little back bend. Take an exhale and tuck the chin. Maybe take a little round through the spine. Let's come on back up to seated. Take that inhale breath. Let's start to sweep those arms up, waking up those arms, waking up those shoulders. Bring the hands to touch and exhale, hands through to heart center. Just such a great way to wake up through the body. So take those inhales, reach it up. Exhales, draw the hands in. A few more here, just moving through. So good. Finding that movement that you want to take. It can just be just the arms moving up and down, or you can really lift through that heart. Take that little round, little bow. One more inhale, reach it up and hold. Just reaching nice and tall. If you have a preference on how to interlace your hands, maybe like steeple, maybe you want to reach for opposite wrist, whatever it is, see if you can find some length through those arms, really reaching so nice and tall. And let's tip over towards the left. Just a nice little gentle side bend here. Maybe reach down a little bit farther, starting to get more into that hip area, into that side of the body, through those rib cage, underarm. Reach, reach, reach. Let's come on right back up. Reach it up nice and tall. I'm holding on to wrists, so I'm going to just flip wrists. Reaching on to the other one, finding that length, and tipping over towards the right. Feeling that nice little pull through the body. Nice inhale and lengthen. Exhale. Maybe add just a touch of depth in. So good. Let's come on all the way back up. Reaching up nice and tall. Draw the hands down to heart center. Letting that body relax. Let's inhale. Reach it right back up. Nice and tall. And tipping over towards that left. Drop that lower arm down. Maybe really press that hand in. Let's roll. Right shoulder open. Gaze goes up towards the ceiling. The hand might just reach up. Hand might start to reach at a bit more of an angle. We're bringing that arm closer towards the ear. Notice, is that shoulder crunching up? If you're hanging out like this, with no space here, that might be a good sign that you can start to maybe walk that hand a little bit farther, finding some more space and rolling that shoulder back. Maybe you add a nice little pulse in, playing around with that edge, adding a nice stretch. Beautiful. Let's press all the way back up, reaching up nice and tall. So good. And right over towards the other side, planting that lower arm down. Maybe you start really close to the body. Maybe you know you can walk it out a little bit. Gaze goes up. Spin that left shoulder open. Maybe you reach the hand just either straight up or start to connect a little bit more over. Maybe you adjust that bottom arm, making sure the ears are drawing away from those shoulders and finding all that length. And maybe you add a nice little pulse in. So good. Taking just a few more nice little reaches. And let's press in and come all the way up. Reach it up nice and tall and right into a forward fold. Start to bring the arms forward. Maybe you just plant the hands right close in front of you. Maybe you're even up a little bit higher on the legs. Or maybe you start to walk those hands down. Just finding the sweetness of a nice little forward fold. You can roll those shoulders back and down and drawing them away from the body. Adjust your top as well if it's riding up. Trying out a new material today. It's nice and breathable, but it feels also very slippery. So, the funness. Next thing, you can drop the head down. And you can create that nice little pull sensation with the hands. So just pull into the hands ever so slightly. Find that bit of length. Feel how that feels on those shoulders. If that feels good, go ahead. Hang out there. If you don't love that, you can go back towards neutral. Or you can even create that little push sensation. And just mixing it up. Seeing how that feels on the shoulders. Just getting into some different muscles. Maybe that feels good. I'm going to come back to that nice pull. Finding that length. And then I'm going to walk my hands in, coming back up, finding that nice tall seat. Let's switch the feet, opposite foot in front or on top. Look at all this beautiful sunshine we have today. I hope it's sunny where you guys are as well. It started out cloudy this morning, but beautiful sun. Excellent. So feet are swapped. Take a nice inhale, breath in, lengthen, sit up a little bit taller. Let's sweep those arms up. Just taking 2 or 3 here, reaching up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time. Sure, it's just gonna ride up the whole time. I think that's just what's gonna happen. That's why I also buy high-rise leggings. So that's just, one of those things. Beautiful. Nice. One more. Nice little inhale. Reach it up. Nice and tall. Exhale, hands to heart. Pressing in here. Let's reach for that left knee with that right hand. Other hand starts to reach out in front, pressing forward first, and then starting to spin around, coming into a nice little twist. Look at how vibrant and white that is. That's a little too intense. So you keep twisting. I will hit the button What changes things. Maybe you press into those hands, inhaling to get a little bit taller, exhaling to maybe twist a little bit deeper. Here we go. Beautiful. That's a touch better. Excellent. Nice big twist. Feeling that rotation on the spine. Press into the legs. See if you can become a little bit more aware of how the body is stabilizing down. Beautiful. And let's release. And come on back towards center. Excellent. Now reaching for that other knee, reaching for that right knee with left hand. Right hand presses forward and then starts to spin all the way around, maybe pressing it back behind you, and getting nice and tall, and maybe exhaling, twisting just a little deeper. Letting it feel nice and good. A little rotation all through that spine. Maybe gaze goes over that back shoulder. Maybe start to press into those legs. Finding a little more awareness. Maybe finding a little more stabilizing. Beautiful. One more nice inhale. And take that exhale. Let's start to release. Come on back towards the center. So just take a few little shoulder rolls. Rolling those shoulders back. Mine are crunchy today. That's the sound I'm going to use. Sounds like someone's chewing granola in my shoulders. All right, find that little bit of stillness, and let's walk those hands. Just coming into that nice little bow. You can tuck the chin. I just really love the seated forward fold on both sides, especially if you sit cross-legged, because as I start to bow forward, I feel it in this top hip or whatever foot is on top or closer in towards the body. You might feel a little more pull in, and so that's what's happening there. It's why if I do it on one side, I'll do it on both sides. Or if you got your legs extended long, maybe it's an opportunity for you to play around with your hinging at the hips, sending those sits bones back. Excellent. Sure. Excellent. Let's press on in and come on back up. Sitting nice and tall, sitting that head up. Excellent. So good. Let's start to extend the legs nice and long. I'm going to extend the left leg here. Just out towards the side. I'm actually going to keep the right leg drawing in towards the body, knee pressing down. You also have the option to do this with knee up, foot planted, if that works a little bit better, or even if the foot is really far away from the sits bones, that'll make that a little bit more gentle as well, opposed to drawing it right in close. I find a touch more stability when I have it in close. I can press in nice and strong, have a connection of ankle, knee, and sits bones. And look, I've got a little floppy foot here. Well, let's wake this leg up. Say, hey, it's yoga time to be a little bit more active. Let's start to point those toes up towards the ceiling. And if I have my foot flopping over, I've got some external rotation. It's rotating outwards. And I want to be nice and stable and strong. So bringing it to something a touch more neutral, a little bit better alignment through that femur right in at that hip socket. And so if you are playing around with alignment, you don't have to have your foot out at the same angle every time. Maybe you bring that foot a little bit more inward. See how that feels on the hip. Maybe you bring it extra out towards the side and see how that feels on the hip. That'll probably have a little more intensity if you really go go wild with that. Totally your choice. I always go somewhere in the middle because that's what feels best for me. So just working with that. Make sure that you have that left sits bone pressing down. Let's inhale. Just reach those arms up. Just find a little length. Press into both of those sits bones to reach up a little bit more. And let's take that exhale. Start to take that little bow down just straight forward. And what's that left foot doing? And keep it nice and active. Starting to feel a little pull through that hamstring. And as we get into that forward fold, keep a nice flat back here. Roll those shoulders back and down. And keep extending and pressing into that heel if you want a little more through that hamstring. Beautiful. Let's play around with position of our torso. Let's walk our hands, hand over hand toward that extended leg, maybe framing the leg, one hand on either side. Maybe bring that hand just on top. You can sit up nice and high for this if you would prefer, or you can start to work your way down a little bit more. You'll find that sweet spot that feels really good, and you might even be feeling some pull through that inner thigh, or maybe on the inside of the knee, or at least I do. And so sometimes I hyperextend my knees here, where I'm really pressing my knees downward. So if I just bring some attention to my knee, find that little kneecap, and then I imagine lifting that kneecap on its own. You kind of get this little squeeze through the quad happening. You can even watch the kneecap to see for that little lift. So now I'm engaging some more muscles around there, and I'm protecting a little bit better through that knee, just activating some more stuff. So give that a try if that works for you. If that still doesn't work, then add a little gentle bend into the leg, really as high up as you need to. Maybe stuff a little pillow under there as well. So little tips and tricks for that. Still just hanging out in that forward fold. If you want, you can add that little pulse in. Just a nice little hamstring, little inner thigh stretch. Really, it's very similar to that wide-legged forward fold, but we don't have the weight of the torso adjusting with gravity the same way we do here. We have a little more control. It's a little bit softer, a little more gentle. Maybe we'll come into a wide-legged forward fold standing. And we can play around with that different sensation. So really notice where you're feeling it here. So good. Great way to find a little length. Excellent. Beautiful. I feel like adding a little side bend in here. So I'm going to bring my left hand to the inside of the leg. I like to have a good portion of my arm pressing against the leg. And so if you're able to find that depth, it's not really about having hand on ankle, because then I lose all of that nice connection. So it's kind of pressing that forearm against the leg wherever you are able to, and then bringing palm towards palm, and then reaching up towards the ceiling with that right arm. Keeping that foot nice and active. Don't let it go floppy. Keep finding that, feeling that openness through that right side of the body. Hand can start to reach overhead a little bit more, or if you're able to reach your toes here by going overhead, you're more than welcome to as well. That is not my wheelhouse. I don't have the openness through the sideline of my body, but if you do and you enjoy it, go ahead and go for it. I just like the nice openness of it. Getting that little rotation, nice little twist, nice little side bend all at the same time. Finding some openness through those hips. Excellent. Let's bring that hand back towards that other hand, closing everything up and in, and walk hand over hand, back through center, and keep it going towards that other side. And so aligning it with that bent knee, option to press in, get nice and tall. Odds are this sits bone will start to roll up that little left thigh as you add a little bow down into it. That's okay. You can keep trying to roll it back and down. If you lose that connection, and as long as you keep that intention of pressing and extending nice and strong through that leg, that's what I'm going for here. But if you'd rather also just relax through the leg, you're welcome to do so as well. I'm not going to tell you you can't. That's not what I'm about. As long as it feels good for your body, that's what we're working on. Beautiful. All right, let's start to press on back up a little bit. Come back towards center. Feel that sits bones reconnected. Sit all the way up. And grab that left extended leg nice and slowly start to add a bend back to that leg. Maybe planting that foot in. Maybe giving a little hug and squeeze. Working on that posture. Finding that little length through the spine. And then we're going to come into good old cradle baby. So however you need to adjust this bent leg. I'm just going to tuck mine in just a little bit more. And holding on, maybe starting to bring hands underneath that left leg. And starting to float that left leg up. Giving them a nice little shake. Starting to get into that hip. So think of this as that same way as when we're laying on our backs and we hug one knee in towards our chest and find that little wiggle movement. Exact same thing here. So you can really twist through the shoulders or through the hip to get that. But if you just kind of let the leg do most of the movement. Then you're starting to break down some of that tightness, some of those other muscles. Excellent. All right, let's add a little bit more depth into this here. Maybe you start to add that little external rotation, grabbing onto maybe the bottom of the foot or the ankle, onto the knee, foot kind of spins outward. You can still keep that same little rock from side to side. You can even do this with this bottom leg extended. So if you prefer to have leg extended, have at her. Maybe it feels more like that seated figure four. That's also an option that you can do here as well. So, all kinds of different ways to play around with this little move, finding with what works best for you. If you want a little more, maybe start to connect foot just above the elbow, because you got to be able to bend at the elbow. So you can hang it with one hand, maybe one hand on the knee. And it's more so just starting to draw that leg in a little bit closer towards the body, keeping that little leg baby nice and close. If you want more still, you can come into that nice full swaddle, bringing the other hand around, trying to let the knee come above the elbow, maybe interlace at the fingers. So leg is drawing in, feel all of those feels on the hip, and getting into some of those muscles, maybe getting into that piriformis, right in the middle of the glute. You can add that little rock forward and back, and giving that glute a little massage. Even if you still have that leg extended, this still works good here. Adjusting in. So good. I feel like I haven't done this guy for a while with you guys. This is a nice one. Still maybe finding that little movement, playing around, finding those little adjustments, finding those sweet spots, and starting to work them out a little bit. Excellent. On Facebook, the screen has gone black. So if you guys can't see me anymore, let me know. Through my recording device, still going strong. So I don't know if just Facebook screen is having issues, but that's why I have a backup. Beautiful. All right, let's start to come out of this crazy little cradle. Starting to release one hand and the other, finding some length. Beautiful. Let's start to plant that foot back down. Maybe giving that foot a little shake. Knee can still be bent or extended, doesn't matter here. Whichever works best. Embracing it. Beautiful. All right, let's get ready to come into the other side. So now we are going to extend that right leg. Sending it long, bring that left leg in. Maybe now you find it really easy to draw that foot in towards the body, or you can have it out a little bit more. Other foot can be straight or really open, whatever works best. Sometimes it doesn't matter, and it doesn't all have to look the same. So if you want to do something totally different than me, okay, that's wonderful, that's great. As long as we are working on getting that sits bones down, working on the same alignment, still feeling that through the hamstring, maybe a touch into the inner thigh. And that's all we're trying to work right now, is getting into that nice hamstring. Let's see if we can take a nice inhale and lengthen, extend the head, nice and long. So good. Activating into those toes, into that leg, maybe extending out through the heel, toes go up towards the ceiling. Nice big inhale breath, keep trying to connect down. What I noticed as I activated into that leg, I shifted my weight towards that left side. So just keep that nice and neutral. Excellent. Start to bring those hands, sweeping them up, reaching up nice and tall. And exhale, coming into that nice little bow. And dropping those hands down onto the ground. And keep rolling that right sits bones down. Maybe come down a little bit more. Pressing in. Feeling all those feels. Maybe bring some attention to that kneecap. Let's walk hand over hand towards that extended leg. Maybe so you have one hand on one side, the other hand on the other. You can adjust the shoulders and the hips to go along with you. Keep extending that head nice and long, trying to activate into a nice flat back for this movement here. Keeping those toes pointing up. Maybe you add that little pulse in. Maybe you play around with lifting that kneecap or even just squeezing through the kneecap. If you find that you have sore knees quite regularly, there is so much that happens around the knee. You've got like your fascial lines all connect through here. You've got your lateral line all the way down to your spiral line that kind of goes through and across the knee. You've got your inner line that comes up, and then you've got a deep fascial line as well. I forget how he goes through the knee, connecting through there. So even just that lifting of the kneecap and that little squeeze of the quads, letting it be mostly about the knee. If you take some time, you're now stabilizing the knee and you're strengthening some of those little tendons in there. And so just working on that. If you did that every day for like 3 weeks, I think you would see some improvement on your knee health, knee stability, and your abilities for your knees to load bear. So, perfect. All those fun things. All right, let's add the little side bend, openy twist thing. So bringing that right hand to the inside of the leg, maybe having lots of connection of the leg, or if you really just feel like extending nice and long, I'm not going to say no to that. Let's try to bring palm towards palm, and then opening it up, reaching up towards the ceiling, or maybe more overhead, or maybe even out towards the side, depending on how tight you are through that one side. Oh yeah, this side's extra tight today. Well, I think I said that about this side yesterday and the day before. Just noticing the difference between one side and the next. Still trying to find that openness, so I'm going to just keep reaching up towards the ceiling. You're welcome to add that little pulse in. I'm just really digging in with my elbow here to counter this nice little movement to keep that openness and those toes still pointing up towards the ceiling. So good. Let's take one more nice inhale. Extend the head a little bit farther away from the shoulders. Where'd my sunshine go? Let's take that exhale. Bring palm back towards palm. Start to walk those hands back up and in. We'll just keep adjusting lighting as the weather changes. So maybe we'll get this guy on. Who knows? Can only do so much. All right, let's start to bring this right leg in. Maybe you give him a nice little hug, nice little squeeze. As soon as I adjust it, the sun's gonna come back out. The cloud's almost gone. It'll get real bright here in just another moment. So playing around with this bottom leg, maybe it's tucking in, maybe you want to extend it long as we get ready to come into that little cradle baby motion. So really whichever you prefer, or you can switch it at any point. Let's bring those hands underneath the knee and start to bring leg up. Add that nice little shake in. Maybe you just let it be the leg. Maybe you enjoy the shoulders and the hips getting into motion as well. Not really a bad option. All the movement feels pretty good. Actually, I'm liking this big openness. I can just let the leg do its thing. Working with that pelvis, getting some of that big stretchies in. Beautiful. Nice little rock from side to side. And then let's start to add some depth. So you're welcome to just stay hanging out here, keeping that rock, maybe even just pulling the knee in towards the chest and releasing here. Or you can start to draw that leg in. Find that little external rotation, maybe reaching for the foot, holding on at foot and knee, coming into that same motion. You can even do a nice bow and up motion. If you're ready for a little bit more. Maybe this foot starts to come up a little bit higher into that arm. Feel how that draws it already so much closer towards the body. Might really intensify, even right here, trying to bring that foot closer in. Are you hunching into it? That might be a sign that you went a little too far. We still want to find the length through that spine. And then if that's still easy for you to do, still lengthening through that spine, then you can wrap that right hand around, linking in at the fingers, drawing the leg in towards the body, feeling that sweet spot. I'm gonna add a little forward and back here. Beautiful. We'll have to do these on our next yoga party so I can see where everyone's at and can add in the extra difficulty stuff or leave it here. I think this is a decent amount of depth, I think, for a lot of people. Beautiful. Waking up through that hip. How's that hip feeling, hey? Find all those sweet spots. Maybe do little circles around on that glute, giving it a nice little massage. I don't know how many times I've gone for a massage and they've been like, have you heard of rollerball therapy or rolling out your muscles? And I was like, yeah, I have. I even have a rollerball at home. Do you think I'd do it? My body would be in such better condition, I think, with tightness and soreness and openness and more flexibility, all of those things, less tension. If I actually use the rollerball, or there's that myofascial release yoga, which I would like to get into. It has like 2 tennis balls glued together, softer ones, harder ones, and you basically just put it under places of your body and use your body weight to give you a nice massage. Real nice on the shoulders, real nice on the hips, kind of intensive. Real nice on the feet, oh my goodness. One day, I'll start taking more courses. So much to learn, the body's neat. All right, we've given this guy lots of love. Let's start to come out. Trying to make sure it's equal on both sides. Got into this deeper one a little bit faster on this side, so that's why we held it a little longer, but let's start to let this guy out. Maybe you plant the foot down. Maybe you extend both legs long and give them a little shake, a little bounce. Maybe you do some circles with the ankles. So good. So fun. Beautiful. All right, well, let's come into our all fours position. Spinning around and getting into those hands, stacking underneath the shoulders, knees stacking underneath the hips, adjusting the outfit yet again. Pressing those hands in, making sure those fingers are nice and wide, really start to feel that connection. And take a nice inhale, breath, extend the head nice and long. And let's start from the bottom. So starting to drop that belly down, setting that tailbone up into the air. Starting to feel like you're pressing that rib cage all the way down towards the ground. And let's start to look up. Gaze goes neutral. Maybe even extend the chin a little bit more. Maybe you extend through that crown of the head a little more. Maybe press into those hands a little more. Just feel this huge back bend happening. Let's take an exhale, starting to tuck the chin, starting at the top, rounding that head in, starting to press those shoulder blades up, and then tucking that tailbone under. Finishing things off right in there. Maybe press extra into those hands. Big shoulder stretch. Let's take one more. Starting to drop that belly down. Starting to look up. Nice little cow pose. Maybe feel that core work we did yesterday as you press those abdominals down. Feel that little stretch through there. Extend the head nice and long. Let's tuck the chin, round through that spine. Press it up nice and high. Let's come towards neutral. Nice flat back. Excellent. Let's walk those hands a little closer, coming up onto the knees. And let's bring the left foot forward and coming into a nice little low lunge position. So take that time. The closer the foot is towards the body, the more gentle you'll be on the body. The farther apart they are. So if you add a little more distance in, the more intense you might be getting here. Feel free to maybe round the mat and to add a little padding on that back knee. Sometimes he needs a little extra love. I'm gonna pad the knee today. That feels a little bit better on that kneecap. Beautiful. So option one, hang out here, hips over that knee. Notice how I have this knee drawing a little bit more closer this way. So you can get a little more hamstring stretch happening there. But if you want to start to get into this right quad, then start to push the hips forward, bring this knee more in line with that front foot. Keep rolling the left hip back, pressing right hip forward to lengthen through that quad. Hands can be up high on the knee. You can start to even bow down a little bit. I feel like the higher up you go, the more lengthening is happening through that hip flexor, more intensive it might be through there. So just play around with those little subtleties, those little differences. Maybe you even want to press the head up or back, lifting through that heart, just adding in a touch of the back bend and coming back towards neutral. You can even add a little bit of a pulse into this, and straightening a touch through that front leg and deepening back into it. So your choice. Just a nice low lunge, nice little quad stretch. Maybe you're just feeling that in the hip flexors. And I've got one friend who, whenever we do low lunge, it's just her hip flexors, just right in that crease. That's the only place she feels it. And so if that's you as well, and you want to get more into the quad, that's when we start to lift that back foot up off the ground. Maybe even reach back, grab onto the heel, or grabbing onto legging, or grabbing a little strap, lassoing it, drawing that foot a little bit closer in to those sits bones, to those glutes, trying to still balance. So good. So maybe you're just noticing those little differences. I'm gonna release my foot and tuck it back down, staying up nice and high here at first, but I'm actually looking for a little more. So I'm gonna walk from this left foot out, just off towards the side a little bit. And then if you're able to bring elbows onto knee, go ahead. Maybe you're able to bring hands down onto the ground or tiptoes, or maybe grab a little block. Just starting to get into some more openness on that left hip, working on that little lizard pose. So maybe your hands just hang out here. Maybe you really press those hips forward, getting into that hip flexor. If you want more still, this left knee can start to draw outwards. Here, let me just come on a bit of an angle here, because then maybe you can see what's happening. So, got the length happening. So you can keep that knee tucked in, or you can come onto the side edge of it, letting that knee start to splay outwards. Either hanging up nice and high, pressing in nice and long and tall. So lots of stuff happening. Got some nice external rotation on that left side. That leg pressing forward. Maybe you're even pressing into the top of those toes. Are you hunching here? Can you find a little bit more length? Really draw that head out. Excellent. If you still find this easy, I never know. So some people think this is really easy. They've got that external rotation. Your hips are nice and warmed up from all that seated stretching we've done. So you can walk your hands a little bit further. Maybe even come down onto forearms. Finding that length, feeling that nice little pull through the hip. Letting it feel good with wherever you're at. So let's take another breath or two here. Nice inhale. Nice exhale. So good. One more nice inhale. And on that exhale, start to press back up onto your hands if you're on your forearm, and start to draw that knee back in towards the body. Excellent. Maybe you bring those forearms back up and coming back up into that higher lunge. You can release the hands and bring that knee back in, getting ready to come into that other side. So we'll stay at this little angle. Maybe I'll just go straight. Bring that right leg forward. Now I'm no longer mirroring you. Playing around here, just finding that lunge position, and how far does that foot want to be away from the body. Maybe even just try bowing forward. Maybe that's too much, maybe that's not enough. And adjusting through that. Just coming into the other side. How does this hip feel now? Finding some length through that back quad. Maybe bring your hands down. Maybe start to shift your hips forward and coming down a little bit more. I feel like this angle is better at showing that. Excellent. If you want, you can press into those hands, extending the crown of the head out, or maybe lifting through that heart. Maybe take a nice little back bend, finding all of that length through that front body. Keep finding length. So good. I'm going to come back towards neutral. Hanging out here. Maybe you start to add that little pulse in. So good. Good old low lunge and lizard. Such a great way to get into hips. Finding that little bit of intensity. Beautiful. Just working through that quad here, working through that hip flexor. And if you're ready for a little bit more on that quad, maybe you start to bend through that left knee. I feel like I just need a little extra padding. I need to be able to show you. So let me just adjust that way. Come on back into it. Hips go forward and the leg starts to bend. With either hand, whichever you prefer, maybe you grab onto it. Getting that extra bit of stretch. On this side, I always get a little hamstring Charlie horse, so let me just release that. If anyone knows why, feel free to let me know. But as soon as I start bending, anything past this, I can just feel this hamstring starting to talk. Maybe I'm squeezing, maybe I'm holding tension there. But I'll just keep it nice and low, hold it on at the legging. Another breath here, nice inhale, nice exhale. Without slingshotting, gonna release that foot back down. And then getting ready to come into that lizard pose. So let me just adjust back out. Hanging out nice and high, maybe walk that foot out, making room for those shoulders. Maybe you start to bow down. Maybe you connect hands down at tippy toes or tips of the fingers. Maybe you have a little block that you press it on. Maybe you can connect those hands all the way down. Pressing in, maybe that shoulder and the knee stay nice and connected. Maybe you start to let it open up, coming onto the side edge of the foot, finding that extra bit of openness. Finding length through the crown of the head. This feels real good right here. So good. Haven't done the knee out one for a while. I try to also have my own practice where I work on things and explore and get creative. It's often how I find new transitions. It's also just fun to learn from others. And I've been working on my monkey, my splits. Instead of drawing the knee out, I keep kicking that leg forward. So if you want that, go ahead. Beautiful. Maybe you start to work your way down. You can bring your hands a little bit more forward. Maybe that's enough of a lower. Maybe you come down onto forearms. Who knows? I see another comment here, but it is just off the screen. Okay. Gone and back, gone and back, gone and back. Sorry guys, if you're having issues, I don't know. I never know if it's my internet your internet, Facebook itself, the live video being more than half an hour, but usually that's not an issue. Oh, this feels good. Kind of walked forward. Hopefully it's working. All right, let's start to come on out. Taking a nice inhale breath, using that exhale, pressing back up to hands if you're down on forearms. And then from there, starting to draw that knee in and pressing up, maybe coming back up onto the knee. Maybe we come up all the way. Beautiful. And then starting to release that knee back down. And I'm just gonna spin around and recline back and down. So however you wanna get there, join on in as we roll back and down onto the mat. Planting the feet down, rolling those shoulders back and down, finding some of the space there, taking a nice inhale breath, lengthening through the crown of the head. Exhale, release, let it go. And take another nice inhale breath. Pressing those shoulders down, maybe start to press into the hands down as well. Press into the heels just to have that little tuck of the tailbone, pressing that low back in nice and strong as well. Feeling that strength. Let's bring knees over the hips. Option to hang out here, or if you want, you can start to extend those legs up. Maybe you can hold on to the backs of the leg, giving those hamstrings a little massage. We did a good amount on these little hammies today. And on the quads, you can point and flex through the feet here. Knees can be bent, or you can work on extending them nice and long and straight. If you've got a little band or a strap, you can always lasso the feet and holding on there. That adds that nice little feedback, and oftentimes you can get that nice connection of straightening through the legs just like you were standing. We're taking that half lift or half forward fold. Working through. So good. I'm going to add a little movement in. Starting to draw the legs over top. Just working with that low back area. Giving it another bit of a massage. A little bit of lengthening happening here. Lengthening through that back line of the body. Finding that stillness. So good. I'm going to lower left leg down. Maybe you plant the foot. Maybe you draw right leg in a little bit closer towards the body. Knee can bend, drawing right leg in towards the body. Then maybe if you want that little bit more, you can extend the legs. So just coming into this nice little half wind reliever pose. Or if you want, you can still be extending the leg up or reaching for great toes, drawing it in towards the body. So it can be a little more active than just the foot relaxed and in. You can still keep working on bringing that foot up and drawing it in towards the body. So feel how that feels. So much more active on it. If you want, you can reach for the great toe or the side of the foot. Drawing things in this way. And left leg can be nice and active. Kicking that heel out, toes going up. Beautiful. Let's start to relax this, releasing the great toe and hugging knee in towards the body. Maybe you hang on to the back and that foot really releases, or maybe it really draws in nice and close as you give it a big hug. Nice big squeeze. See if you can relax through that hip. Are you squeezing any through that hip on the right side? And can you start to let it go? Nice inhale. Exhale, release. Beautiful. Start to plant that right foot down. Just push the foot in towards the mat. Knee goes up. And start to bring that left foot all the way back up. Nice and straight. Foot up towards the ceiling. Leg drawing in. Maybe you're holding on to the back of the knee. Just drawing the leg in. Nice, just gentle bend happening here. If you want a little more, maybe walk that foot, that right foot a little bit farther away from the body. Or maybe extend it all the way long. Still working on this nice active variation of this. So extending through that right heel, toes point up. And left leg draws in, foot presses up towards the ceiling, little half happy baby here. Reaching in if you want that little bit more. Maybe reach up for the toes. Leg can be straight extended or knee bent. If you've got a good old half splits here, by all means. If you've got that length through the leg, just about how stretchy your muscles are. Beautiful. I'm going to release the foot, go back towards extending that leg through the log. Oh, it feels so good. Excellent. And then I'm going to bend through that knee, hugging that knee in towards the chest. Maybe you give it a big squeeze. Maybe it just kind of hangs out. I like the big squeeze, really drawing it in. It just kind of, I just have this squeeze happening through my hips, and then I can focus on relaxing it. That is a nice way to let go of that tension. So good. Little hip opener, just working through some stuff. So good. Take a nice inhale breath. And exhale, release. Side out. Just try to soften. And then bring that left foot down, planting that left foot in towards the mat. Start to bend right knee, planting right foot in towards the mat. Take that nice little windshield wiper from side to side, dropping knees down from one side to the other. Knees and ankles can stay glued together. You can walk the feet a little bit farther apart. Just 2 different variations, or however you naturally start to get into it. You'll find your rhythm. You'll find the sweetness. So good. Just gonna slow back down, get a nice little stretch in on either side. Beautiful. Let's find our stillness. Let's drop both knees in towards the chest and take that little rock from side to side, massaging that low back. So good. And getting ready for our closing pose of good old happy baby. So find your stillness. Maybe you reach on through the knees or just hold the back of the knees, drawing both knees in towards the body and sending feet up towards the ceiling. So totally a great option to hold out here, or if you want to reach for those feet or the toes or however you want to hold on. This is the goal. Knees drawing in towards the body, feet going up towards the ceiling, and a little tuck of the chin, trying to find length through that spine. So good. Options now to play around. You're welcome to enjoy a little freestyle. So if there's a completely different pose that you want to get into before coming into Shavasana, you're welcome to. Or you can just play around like a baby with your feet. Maybe bring these little detached, drawing knees open, little happy baby cobbler pose. Or I know lots of people like to extend their legs long. My little T-Rex arms don't really let my legs extend long without my head coming up. But whatever you'd like to do, go ahead, take a few moments to play around. If there's something totally different than your little happy baby playing around that you want, you're welcome to explore some of the movement. Maybe you want that little half waterfall. We've done lots on the hamstrings, so maybe you want a little twist. Maybe your spine wants a little more rotation. So good. Excellent. And when you're ready, start to settle into your final pose, your little Shavasana. Maybe you extend the legs long. Maybe take a good morning stretch, reaching those arms up overhead, maybe even pointing through the toes if the legs are extended. Big inhale and reach. Exhale. Relax. Maybe the arms draw alongside the body, palms facing up, shoulders rolling back and down. Nice little tuck of the chin. Finding yourself in whatever that final pose looks like. Let's take 3 inhales and exhales, getting ready. Nice big breath in. Breathing in, not just filling the lungs, but breathing into that abdomen. Nice big belly breathing. And exhale, maybe side out. One more nice big inhale breath, breathing in. Exhale, release. One more big inhale. And let it out. Taking a moment, remembering that intention from the beginning of class, and perhaps setting an intention for the rest of your day, rest of your time. This is where I will roll up to say goodbye, but you take the time You need to be reclined in your Shavasana. Shavasana is wonderful. Very healthy for the mind, for the body, probably for the soul as well. A little bit of stillness. All right, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day filled with moments of joy, and I pray that you are always blessed. Thank you, and namaste. Beautiful.